We don't always have a ruler and measuring tape handy with us, and so an important skill is to be able to estimate lengths and distances using metric units as well. To help us estimate, we use something called a referent. A referent is an object or a body part, like the length of your arm, that you can use to help you estimate. Referents are very helpful for estimating distances or lengths. So if you want to measure a very small thing, something on the order of millimeters, a helpful referent is the width of a dime. That's about, on its side, that's about 1 millimeter across. For estimating centimeters, a helpful one is your pinky finger. So there's your nail of your pinky finger. The width of your pinky finger is about 1 centimeter across. For a meter, you can use your arm from your shoulder to your hand. That's about the length of 1 meter, and obviously that's going to change depending on how old you are or how tall you are, but you can get in the right ballpark for 1 meter. And finally, the kilometer. This is a much trickier one to estimate, especially when you're just on your feet. It's a little easier to estimate when you have a map handy. But a kilometer is about 2 times, a little over 2 times, around a track. It's about the distance that you can walk in 15 minutes at just a very casual, normal walking pace. So here's an example. Let's estimate the width of the block being cut. So what's really great about this picture is we actually have this guy's pinky finger in our frame, and so we could guess, you wouldn't want to put his pinky finger that close to the saw, but we could guess that it's probably about 3 pinky finger widths that he's cutting off of this block. So I would say that this is probably about 3 centimeters across. Now let's try to estimate the length of this table. So your arm length is about 1 meter, so I think meters are the best unit for the table instead of thinking about pinky fingers going across the whole thing. And so if you want to use arm lengths, you could think about that going across the table, or another really good meter referent is the height of a doorknob. So because we have a wall here, if that's where the height of a doorknob would be, we probably have about 1, 2, 3 of those across the table. So I'd say the table is probably about 3 meters across. As we said, estimating big distances can be really tricky, but it gets a little bit easier if you have a map. So maps usually have a referent or a scale somewhere on them, at least the best maps do. And so on this map of Canada, you can see in the lower right-hand corner that they've given us a scale to help us figure out distances on the map. So here's an example. We want to estimate the distance between Victoria, way over on the west coast of our country, to Halifax in Nova Scotia, way across on the other side of our country on the east coast. And we are given the scale on the map in kilometers, you see. So between here and here is 900 kilometers, but let's make it a nice round 1,000. So I'm going to extend this line a little bit and say that between about 0 and this line is 1,000 kilometers. And let's use that on our map. So that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4.5 or 5,000 kilometers. Let's call it about 5,000 kilometers between Victoria and Halifax.